You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor. Subscribe to the channel. Leave your comments below. Be sure to smash that like button. Ed Orgeron on his coach's show Wednesday night he talked about what he's looking forward to this week with McNeese coming in and some of the things we might expect to see change. But he did give one bit of news. Give a listen.
I plan on playing Garrett. I don't know when he's going to go in the game, but he's definitely going to get a chance to play against McNeese.
Garrett is, of course, Garrett Nussmeier. That is true freshman quarterback Garrett Nussmeier, who wowed a lot of people, turned a lot of heads in the fall scrimmages where, man, stats popped. In the first scrimmage, he threw for 225 yards and 3 scores. In the second scrimmage, he was 18 of 32 for 308 and 3 touchdowns. I did give you the caveat when we got those stats to pump the brakes. They're scrimmage stats because you never know, man. He could be running with the second and third team offenses, running against second and third team defenses, and then it could also be situational. They could be running red zone, so you're talking about a high touchdown number that may not be. You can't look at scrimmage stats and say, think of them in terms of how we think of a 4-quarter football game. But for many obvious reasons, those numbers popped and got a lot of people's attention. You know what got my attention? His careless handling of the football and the turnovers in the spring game. That's what got my attention. And that's the terrifying part of playing a freshman quarterback. Real quick, though, I was thinking about this when Ed Orgeron, because I do have some more reaction, but when Ed Orgeron was talking about playing Garrett Nussmeier in this game on Saturday, I thought, man, do you realize how winding the road at quarterback has been for LSU over the last year? When Joe Burrow was drafted, last summer, LSU's digital media was releasing Myles, Brennan, QB1, it's his time videos and posts on Twitter and social media. And then Brennan, they stumble out the gates. They're 1-2, and Brennan gets injured against Missouri. And then TJ Finley comes in. And boy, Finley blew up against South Carolina. I mean, flick of the wrist. You saw the arm talent, the potential, and the poise of a freshman. He threw a pick in that game, and he was walking to the sideline, tapped his chest as if to say, that was me. I know what I did wrong. And he was awesome. Awesome the rest of the day. But then he had his ups and downs, as freshman quarterbacks do. Really great comeback win, game-winning drive against Arkansas on the road in the rain. Really ugly performances against Auburn and Alabama, which then led to Max Johnson starting the final 2 games of the season. And boy, Max looked great, man. The win at Florida, threw for 400 yards against Ole Miss, and you're going, man, we found him. Found the next guy. So then you go into this offseason, and then it's, well, is it Max or Myles? TJ transfers out. TJ went from being a dude against South Carolina to transferring before the next season. And then it's Max and Myles. Who's going to win the job? My contention is Myles Brennan was going to take the first snap. Could he keep the job? We'd see. And then Myles breaks his arm, and people are really excited about Max. Man, that question is no longer a question. It's Max Johnson's squad. We saw this dude go do it as a freshman on the road in the swamp. And boy, he looked like a freshman, didn't he? He looked like a guy playing his third game, his third start on the road against UCLA. And now all of a sudden, yeah, baby, let's go. Nussmeier, let's see what he's got, bro. He's the next one. What's so interesting about Garrett Nussmeier is when Rohan Davey sat in here, or when we ask people about Nussmeier, they'll say, man, he's got that it, that little, that thing. Okay, it's interesting. Because a year ago, I had someone on staff tell me point blank, on LSU staff tell me point blank, we like Myles Brennan a lot. We think Myles Brennan's going to do really well. But Max Johnson is special. And here we are talking about Garrett Nussmeier. I will be very clear. In no way do I want Garrett Nussmeier playing quarterback at LSU as a freshman. The MO is when you hear people talk about him, when you watched him in the spring game, athletically really gifted, almost to the point where he's athletically arrogant, where he tries to make plays happen that aren't necessarily there. He tries to make the no-look Patrick Mahomes pass, or kind of shades of Johnny Manziel running around in the backfield, pivoting, planning, spinning, just trying to make stuff happen. And sometimes you force balls and that leads to mistakes. When I look at this situation that's unfolding right now, potentially, and again, we don't know when Myles Brennan's going to be back, but in the big picture, we're looking at a situation with the quarterback situation where, and really with the program as a whole, Ed Orgeron knows he has to win. He knows he's got to win and win big. And when you think back to 2017, he was in a very similar situation. There were a lot of people that wanted to see freshman Myles Brennan. Honestly, Ed and Matt Canada were at odds. Matt Canada wanted to roll with Myles Brennan, but Ed Orgeron knew he needed stability at that position. He needed to pile up as many wins as he can, and he couldn't run the risk of having the young guy make the mistake to get him beat. And that's why they rolled with Danny Etling. And I kind of see the same thing here. Maybe Nussmeier has the higher ceiling long-term than Max Johnson. Maybe not, but athletically you see some of those things, and maybe he's got some of those things. But I also see a situation where I think Ed Orgeron is looking going, man, I don't have the luxury after last year of another 500 season. I need to make sure I win the games I'm supposed to win. And the games where we're just flat better, we have to win those games, and you can't put it a chance by having turnovers or making those handful of plays a game that could cost you the game. And that might be why they lean with Max. But this is one of those games where when you look at it, LSU is athletically superior. They should win this game against McNeese going away, and there should be an opportunity to get Garrett Nussmeier in the game. When does he get in the game? How much does he play? What's his role? We'll see. But when I think back to 2017 and why they were so adamant about, why Ed was so adamant about playing Etling that year, because he wasn't playing for the future, because his future wasn't guaranteed. I think it's similar again. Ed's future isn't guaranteed, so he's got to play the guy that's going to help him win games right now. In my opinion, that's going to be a guy with a little more experience, probably a little more poise, and that's probably Max Johnson. But if nothing else, it'll be interesting to see Nussmeier run around out there on Saturday against McNeese. As Ed Orgeron told us, he's going to get the opportunity. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.